Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anna Libkhen. I work as information technology specialist at the Department of Commerce. I'm also a master's degree candidate in global security studies at Johns Hopkins University, and I live in Rockville, Maryland with my family. But this is not what I came to tell you today. I came to tell you today that I left my family, my job, my school, and everything behind because there is something very, very important to me. And I came to learn from people who have experience in social entrepreneurship and to see how I can take my idea across. I don't have any visuals for you because it's Holy Sabbath and I cannot use any technology. So it's only me and myself. And I guess I'm going to practice a little bit of my pitch with you because I've got this opportunity. Perhaps you all remember the little girl who was so shy of her Jewish heritage growing up in Russia that it would stop her from doing the regular activities and exercises that other kids were doing, like signing up for swim classes or biology program after school, or even as trivial as borrowing books from the library, because she had to reveal that she was Jewish, and being Jewish turned out was filthy and dirty. That little girl was me. But as years went on, the Iron Curtain fell, and we started getting all kinds of information from abroad. And I learned that I actually had a whole wealth of heritage. We had our own songs, and we had our own folk dance, and we had our own delicious cuisine and language and land. And I went to visit Israel. And I found out that actually being Jewish wasn't so bad. But our government didn't think so. I graduated from school, and my diploma was very close to stellar. I had only 2 Bs out of like 20 subjects or so. I was a pretty good student, despite my craziness. And so I had little doubt that I would have difficulty getting accepted into university and pursuing a career in computer science and software that I was passionate about. So the admission process in the universities goes like this. You bring your documents, your high school diploma, then you have to pass entrance examinations, and for me it would be 2 parts of math and physics. And then the accepting committee or admitting committee decides whether you're fit for the program or not. So I came to submit my documents, and I met with the dean of the faculty, and he checked my diploma, and I could see it on his face that he was quite pleased with the way I've done in school. And then he opened my passport, and I could see the change on his face. He looked at the passport, and he looked at me, and he looked at the passport, and he looked at me, and he told me straight in the face, "You're a Jew. Do you think we're going to give you a free education? They're going to pay you a stipend. I have no doubt you'll be able to pass the tests. And you're going to become a specialist. And with all the knowledge that we're going to give you, you're going to pick up and go to Israel and apply it there. And we will be left with no specialist here. We are not accepting you to the program." My parents decided that it was time for us to leave Russia and go elsewhere. It was very darn difficult for them to start everything anew when they were in their 40s, leave everything behind. But it was very difficult for us as well, the children, to integrate. We had to learn the language, we had to learn the culture, we had to learn the colloquial words that we weren't familiar with, movies, driving, every little thing a typical American teenager is doing that we weren't doing. And I felt a stranger again. If I was a stranger in Russia because I was Jewish, I was a stranger in America because now I was Russian. It took all of us quite a few difficult years to integrate. But luckily I was able to be accepted into university, and I pursued my degree. And I landed a job with a pretty prestigious Wall Street company in New York. Started doing my software work. And then 9/11. And a couple years later, economy was still not doing so well. And so like many other offices, our office decided to outsource a lot of its software job to India. And I was chosen to be sent to India to lead the outsourcing project. And voila, I got to relive my being stranger in a different land again. Third time around, it was not as difficult, I must admit. On one of my trips back home to US, I visited family every year. I stopped in Germany, and I visited one concentration camp in my entire life. I couldn't do anymore. And standing by the pile of shoes and at the room size of 4 coffins where people spent years living, it really beamed on me why those people who came out of ashes of the Holocaust, who survived death camps and concentration, they didn't want to go back to their host countries. They didn't want to go back to where they came from. They wanted to live in a place which they can call home. And that place would be Israel. After the Second World War ended, Middle East was a part of a process where Britain was withdrawing from its colonial policies. And so at that point, they crafted a piece of land which they decided to assign to the Jews to open their home there. The local population felt it was unfair. They were betrayed. They were stripped of their right to that same land. And the day after Israel was announced a state, the war started. That war lasts till now, till today. 65 years of war, guys. 65 years where every day when you come out of the house, you're not sure you're going to come back. 65 years of terror attacks, of ground operations, of sending your children, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, for 3 years of service, thinking that they might not ever come back. The situation in the Middle East deeply bothers me. I think there is nothing more precious to us than peace. And I'm deeply passionate about it. So this is my what and a how. And let's talk about, what and a why. And let's talk about the how a little bit. So as you could all see yesterday, I have another passion. And that passion is dancing. For the longest time, I didn't know how to bring these two passions together. And a lot of people spoke about the two worlds that they live in. And they want to incorporate both worlds into one. And I had the same problem. So a week of the conference and a lot of insightful ideas from our beautiful facilitators. Thank you, guys. And an idea for the project was born. It's called Dancing for Peace. I decided that when I go back, and God willing, I'll survive all the craziness of my journey in New Zealand, I'm going to craft some time out of my very extremely busy schedule and start offering classes in whatever people prefer. I can teach yoga or belly dance or aerobics or Zumba or whatever. And I'm going to offer these classes to interfaith community. And I want to offer these classes for free. But the donations that they will bring to the class, I'm going to set aside to start fundraising for the project. Again, God willing, everything goes well, and I don't slack anywhere behind. So I'm going to graduate in May, which will then leave me with more time to further pursue my peaceful agenda. And at that point, I'm going to start preparing my TED Talk, or digital picture, thank you, Will, talk, digital story talk. Another wonderful idea. And I suppose it's going to take me some time. I'm almost there. And those are my short-term goals for the next year. And I guess long-term goal, I'm going to steal from Stomp It Out and see if our Dancing for Peace project can bring out the stars, which could then go around traveling and promoting the idea, promoting the awareness. Because I think awareness, knowing the other side of the story, helps people understand what's going on. And understanding, in turn, brings out sympathy, which I think is really the key word in turning the tide. It's only when we are sympathetic we can understand and bring ourselves together. So I would like to end my talk with another short story from my childhood. When I was 4, my parents signed me up for ballet classes. And this is a very typical situation for any Russian girl, little Russian girl. I started going for ballet classes and I really liked it. About 3 or 4 years later, my teacher started preparing me for entrance examinations, the famous entrance examinations to Bolshoi Ballet Theater School. And for those of you who don't know, Bolshoi Ballet is the biggest ballet company in Russia, and it's the most prestigious and probably in the world, because everybody who studies in Bolshoi Ballet, they become stars and they dance around the globe. For example, American Ballet Theater, I think out of 15 leading dancers, 5 or 6 of them come from Bolshoi. There is another company in Russia. So my teacher, who herself was a graduate from that school and who injured her back very early in her career, and so she couldn't become the lead dancer, she saw potential in me, and she started preparing me for the entrance examinations. But my parents didn't think so. Bolshoi Ballet is in Moscow, which is about 1,500 kilometers away from where we lived, or 1,000 miles away. And so they decided that for a little 8 or 9-year-old girl like me, her family and her familiar surroundings would be so much more important than a road to stardom. And you see the outcome today? I never became a ballerina. So, where I'm trying to bring this? Sometimes God gives us a second chance, but sometimes He doesn't. And so when the opportunity knocks on your door, sometimes it makes sense, or always it makes sense to grab it and not let it go. And so I want to tell this to you, but I want to tell this to myself as well. Today you have the opportunity to do something for the peace in the Middle East. And perhaps dancing is not your cup of tea, and Middle East is so far away from you that you think that the problems there won't bother you. But tomorrow, Iran might come up with nuclear weapons, and the whole region, God forbid, could very easily become a nuclear war zone. And I don't want any of us to wake up tomorrow thinking that we could have done something yesterday, but now the opportunity is over. On that happy note, I would like to thank all the facilitators for giving me beautiful, beautiful insights and ideas. It helped me shape my idea into something much more tangible than I came here with. And I want to thank you all, guys, for bearing with my craziness. I know I've got quite a lot. And for being there for me, for embracing me, just being there and supporting me, for taking me for who I am. Thank you.